Three hidden gems for wealth building in 2026. Let's go. The three biblical hidden gems that I want to give us today, interesting enough, have directly, is not really dealing with finances directly. All right. So it's not necessarily dealing with money, but more so mindset. And this is don't click off yet, because I know a lot of people are like, yeah, no, I'm ready to get to but no, listen. Sometimes a lot of the problems that we have or understanding that we have about finances happen here. It happens here. The diligence or the ability to stay at it, the ability to move forward in spite of in spite of the downs, a lot of that happens here. So I'm gonna give us three things that we have to apply to our lives in 2026 that's going to help us begin to build wealth, not just for us, but for our children and for our children's children. All right, here we go. Number three. Number three is stewardship. Now, I'm not anti-ownership, but I want us to first get to a point where we understand that anything that we have, not only financially, but in terms of relationships, jobs, body, health, mind, all those things are things that all of it really belongs to God. Psalms 24, verse 1, it says, the earth is the Lord's, and it's all is a small three-letter word that contains everything, and all its fullness, the world and those who dwell therein. So the first thing we need to understand is, or ask, seeking the wisdom on how to be good stewards over what God has given us. When we deal with the parable of the talents, here you have a servant that his particular master had left him in charge of certain things. And there were three different ones. Two did good, one kind of bombed the job. But the two that did good, the thing that came out was, well done, my good and faithful servant. You were faithful over a few things. I will make you rulers over many things. So now here we go. So the thing is, the hope is starting small. Now, you remember the 52-week challenge that I gave everybody in the other video? If you don't, I'll make sure I link it. In that particular video, we are starting small. And I want us to be intentional and be habitual about starting with that and develop a habit of putting something away. Now remember, I want to talk to, now again, the rule of 10, 10, 20 means has 20% set aside for investing. I know there are many of us, we cannot set aside 20% of our income for investing. And you have other people say, well, you should. And if you don't, blah, 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 blah. Okay. But we don't. So there are people who don't have it. I am saying starting small with the small, being faithful, being good and faithful over the small. The 52-week challenge starts with $1. At the end of the year, it's $52, and you repeat that step over and over again. If we're good stewards over how much money goes where and what we can do in creating a good spending plan, it's going to help us in the increase when the 52-week challenge begins to compound and increase. The servant that didn't do well was the servant that was afraid. And this is when I started the beginning. We can no longer be afraid of what will and what might and what could. Because those who know what this engine, this investing engine, this compounding interest engine, what they know that they have been doing for the past 100 years is they keep feeding this engine. They keep feeding this beast. No matter how much it goes down, no matter how much it goes up, they understand if I keep feeding it over time, it's going to do well. And so some of us, we're afraid to get in because, the stock market this and then 2008 did that, and 1920, like all these things that happened. But if you look at the time that when those things happen, they always bounce back. 2-3 years later, it always bounced back. So to my understanding, when the stock market goes down, that means there's a clearance sale. And many of us, we pull out when no, we really need to continue to buy more because now whatever we were purchasing now has a clearance sale or 90% off, or I'm just throwing something out, because when you go to the store and they got a 90% sale, you're like, oh my God, Macy's got and you go in and you spend all your money. So we can no longer be afraid of hiding we can no longer be afraid of investing like we used to be. Here's the question though, I want to ask. Does God expect us to increase? And are we being disobedient when we do nothing with what God has given us? Does God expect? You got to answer it for yourself. But is God giving us something that he doesn't want us to produce? I don't see anywhere in the text when God has given us something, whether it be the finances or whether it be the gospel, whether it be family, multiply, be fruitful and multiply. I don't see anywhere where God, and again, I'm not talking about being a millionaire. If it happens, cool. I'm just talking about doing better with what I already have. Being a good steward, knowing that God has given me this to multiply or to increase it for his glory. So, number one, we got to do this for 2026. We got to be better stewards of our time, of our talents, and of our treasure. Here's number two. Diligence plus wisdom. Diligence plus wisdom. Proverbs 12:24. It says, the hand of the diligent will rule, but the lazy man will be put to forced labor. Now, I mean, this is labor you're not choosing. You're being forced to do something. That means it's against your will. So biblical wealth is built over time. It's diligent. It's in spite of. The Bible does not promote shortcuts. However, it does promote planning. If you look at Proverbs 21:5, it talks about planning. It does promote skill, counsel, consistency, patience. And I think those two are really kind of the same coin. Being consistent at being patient. And the more we apply the financial principles as much as we can when we can, we don't allow fear of what if the market, like what if it does? No matter what we do, there's a certain risk to everything that we do. So let's begin to be diligent and wise. That means we have to, the term goes, and I hope this is the right way to say it. The term goes, fools never learn from their own mistakes. Smart people learn from their own mistakes. Wise people learn from the mistakes of others. So let's look at what people have done. Maybe they've done it wrong. Learn from that. So it's not like if you ain't doing it right, then I can't learn. No, you can learn from anybody. Anyway, wisdom is applying knowledge. Okay. So the Bible says, get knowledge, get knowledge, get wisdom, but all you're getting, get understanding. Wisdom is saying, okay, knowledge is saying, this is what I need. This is information. Wisdom is asking the question, when and where do I apply the what to my life? So we need diligence. We don't want to just be diligent. We want to be wise in the diligence that we're doing. So biblical diligence looks like creating a spending plan before we spend. Being proactive, not being reactive with our finances. Being proactive. Biblical diligence looks like, this is what I started out with. Showing up when the motivation begins to fade away. Still putting in the $1, $2, $3, $4, $6, $10, $12, $26, $42, $52. and then repeating that step over and over and over again. Even when I'm like, like whatever that is, I'm still like I'm going in. Especially if you're late to the game like I am, we don't have that much time. Some of us may think, well, it's too late. No, because you still got breath. Like you don't know how long or how much more time you will have. And if you wait longer, you're losing that time as well. So stewardship, number one. Number two, diligence and wisdom. We got to start applying these for 2026. And here's the third one. And this one sounds more like an oxymoron, but it's really not. Generosity. Giving. Let me say it this way. Giving creates multiplication. Giving creates multiplication. So there's a law of reciprocity. And this principle says that when you give out through actions, attitude, resources, or efforts, it tends to return to you over time. When you give, in other words, I'm opening my hand to be able to give. However, simultaneously, my hands are open also to receive. And I can't do that as long as I keep my, like, no, I don't want to give. Like, as long as you're here, there's no way for you to receive as well as there's no way for you to give. But if you don't give, then how can you receive? Here's how the Bible says it. 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 6. It says, but this I say, he who sows sparingly will also reap sparingly. He who sows bountifully will also reap bountifully. Proverbs 11:24. There is one who scatters, yet increases more. So now the Bible is teaching us generosity, having the opportunity to be able to give. I don't care where we are. There's always somebody in a worse position than us. So if you remember my video on how to tithe, I give you at least 4 areas in which you can find places to be able to give on a regular basis. One of the groups that is near and dear to the heart of God is the homeless. There's always somebody who needs some type of assistance. And as believers, it's our responsibility and it's our privilege to be able to help somebody. Again, I want you to be able to do that with a cheerful heart and give when it's within your power to give, but find some way to unlock multiplication. And we do that by being generous with the talents, with the treasure that God has given us. Okay, I'm gonna give it to you again. The 3 gems in the Bible that we have to apply to our lives to build wealth in 2026. Number 1, being a good steward. Number 2, being diligent and wise. And number 3, being generous. Listen, if this video helped you, there was something in it that sparked something in your heart, I want you to hit the share button. And I want you to share this with at least 3 people. And when you share that with them, tell them to do the same thing, to share after they watch it, to share with at least 3 people that they know that this video could bring value to them. Listen, if you're new to the channel, make sure you just hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the, give us a thumbs up. Make sure you hit the bell notification so when I drop new videos, you'll be the first one to get them. Also, if you want a free copy of my financial analysis form, please send me an email to hwhhfinances@gmail.com, hwhhfinances@gmail.com. Also, if you're in Tennessee, Mississippi, and Arkansas, and you are looking for a quote for life insurance, the same email address, hwhhfinances@gmail.com, hwhhfinances@gmail.com. I hope this helped you out. I hope it was something that you can learn. I hope it's something we can apply to for building wealth in 2026. All right. Peace. Salute.